Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We are here to talk about something every organization wrestles with: too much data, not enough clarity. Today, we will explore how workforce intelligence transforms that overlead into confident, actionable decisions. Before we begin, I would like to introduce my co-presenter, Mr. Yug Malik. Yug works at the intersection leadership, operations, and technology, helping teams turn workforce data into clear and actionable decisions. With a strong blend of operational insights and hands-on AI experience, and he will help us to explore how workforce intelligence moves organizations from data overload to confident decision making. Yuk, please, I'm handovering to Yuk. Please
Sure.
start.
Thanks, Praveen. I hope
Thank
you can
you.
hear me clear, right?
Yep.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining today.
Hi,
I
Yuk.
really, I really appreciate you taking time for this session. My name is Yug Malik. I closely work with or across teams involving people, operation, technology, especially where data and decision making comes together. Right. So in today's session, we'll talk about something many leaders deal with day in, day out. So most organizations today have no shortage of data. We have ample data, lying everywhere, right? But when it comes to leaders actually sit down and take decision, so that is where they face difficulty. So that there are data available, but the decisioning factor is getting reduced. So that is the hesitation that we see every day. So today we are going to talk about why that happens and how AI-driven workforce intelligence platforms or tools can help leaders move from data to taking confident decision. So as we go through this, I want you to think about what you do in your organization and the day-to-day operational activities. Keeping that in mind, if your role, if you are in a role which involves, people, maybe you might be involving hiring them, managing them, and planning the work for them for day-to-day activities, then definitely this session will feel familiar to you, right? And if you have already, or ever looked at any report and still thought that, hey, I'm not fully understanding this particular report, then probably we'll connect a little more with what we're going to discuss today. So in this session, we're going to focus majorly on these four key points that you see on the screen. First, we will look at how AI helps in making sense of workforce data that usually scattered across multiple tools, multiple platforms, and so on and so forth. Then we will also talk about how to gain real-time visibility of productivity, workload, and the gaps that really matters, right? We will also cover how to spot the inefficiencies within the process, within the whatever the thing that you are following as part of the process in the organization, how to find that gap, because that is very much important in any organization to figure out what is the pain point, what is the gap, right? And finally, we will see how the AI-driven insights or which the tools that can help leader plan better, prioritize things, and execute it better. All right. So before we talk about AI platforms, I want to take a pause for a moment. Think about what you might have done in last 6 months in your own organization, right? Do you feel like in your organization the number of reports are increasing every day, right? But your decision is not actually getting refined. You are still taking time as a leader. You are still taking time to make a formed or informed decision in spite of having a lot of data with you. Have you noticed that your team also looks busy every day, but the real operational gap is unknown? Why they are busy? We do not know as it. You might have come across situations like this. Also, you might have felt you are surrounded with a lot of information around you, but still not clear what is actually happening around. What is the real gap? What is the pain point? That is still unknown. So if any of this sound familiar to you, it's because your data is already telling you something, right? So let's get into what exactly your data is talking about, what's going on, right? So this brings up to this question. If we already have data, if we already have tools, and we have dashboards, why does taking action feel so hard? Why the leaders are taking so much of time in terms of taking a informed decision? And why does it feel like, these problems that keep coming and that appears out of nowhere? So what usually happens is this, right? Leaders spend time in moving between multiple applications, multiple tools, multiple platforms, maybe one for the time tracking, maybe one for tracking the attendance or the productivity. So one of the reports and so on, right? So they manually also go through numbers. They try to connect all the dots. And many a times what has happened that we have seen is problems are noticed only after they already have affected the deliveries or the cost or the operational efficiencies, or it might be people as well, right? So at that point, leaders are explaining what went wrong. They're not preventing it, right? So that's the real gap that we have been saying. We are acting late instead of acting early. So the proactive ness, that is what is missing, is what we have seen. So on the surface, that we see, things might look completely under control, right? So you might be presenting reports or dashboards, and it might actually look healthy. All the reports might have all the greens, right? Your plan might actually look picture perfect. But when you look little deeper, the everything changes. The reality uh, is different underneath. So some teams are overloaded. Some people might, quite be stretching on their workload. Some risk are building up underneath, but they're still not showing up very clearly on your reports and dashboards, right? So it feels under control, but it's actually an illusion of control. So let's take a poll here, and where do decision usually get stuck in your organization, right? So moderator, could you please bring up the poll? Yeah, I see that. So let's give everyone 30 seconds to respond to this. Please uh, respond with the option that feels really closer to your experience. Okay, I think let's have a look at the results. All right, so I think all of the above. This is interesting. So this is, something that, we keep seeing again and again, right? All of that you see jumping between the tools, reports are there, but not sure about what exactly is happening. So we are seeing this behavior, uh, again and again, and it's not only about one team. This has been seen across the teams and across the industries. All right. So moving on. So most traditional workforce, right, that we have today for dealing with all our day-to-day operational activities, they are built for simple purposes, right? Either to record the attendance, either to record the number of hours, the login and logout hours of the employees, or to generate some report, right? And certainly those things are really useful, no doubt about it. But the way, we see the work happening today, the kind of work, the nature of work is a lot more complex than what you used to have before, right? Leaders do not just need to know what happened, rather they need to understand what's really going on. So that is the difference. So they need to see a pattern early before small issues that, which might coming up and which we might not notice, they might actually turn into a bigger problem. All right. And when we, you know, uh, when the workforce data that you might have, uh, that doesn't really give clear insights, then the leaders do not have a choice, right? They try to make some of the things what is happening around, and they tend to take decision basis their experience basis their past patterns. And when it comes to the capacity planning also, we have seen, it becomes a bit of a guesswork. You are not fully sure if the team is overloaded or underutilized, or they're doing just fine, right? And also the forecasting, we have seen the forecasting also works the same way. It's more of an estimate than something that you feel confident about, right? So at the same time, there, you know, uh, at the same time, there may be many opportunities to improve the efficiency, but they're all hidden. Only when we know what is the opportunity to increase or to correct in the process, then only we can, take action. But unfortunately, that is not the case. That is getting stayed, hidden. And by the time problem finally shows up in the report, it's actually late. And that's how small blind spots that we have seen slowly turns into the bigger operational problems in the industries. So here, let me bring this to life with one example. As quoted, Mr. Roshan in this example, he's leading HR and finance for a growing organization, which is over 200 people. And if you see the indicators, right, the burnout indicators are rising, but there is no early sign of it, right? The workforce data is also spreading across several tools. So there is no single view to look at it. The cost is increasing, but the productivity hasn't changed much, right? And if you talk about the attrition also in this example, it is also rising, but the reasons are not clear why the attrition is rising, right? So even after spending hours every week analyzing the reports, uh, the decisions still feel uncertain. Okay. So this is not a very rare situation. I'm sure most of you can relate in this group. It is happening across the industry, across the team. Okay. So what Rawson really need is one connected view. Think about it. All these problems that we're talking about, if we have one single view, right, a view that turn all the workforce data into very clear and accurate insights, so that he can see what's happening right now, also what is likely to happen next, and where he should act on. And if you see the data that we have pulled from different uh, uh, portals, it is very clear that it is not about one candidate or one organization, right? So this is the global data. The pattern shows up everywhere, right? So around 1 in 4 employees across the world are showing up, signs of the burnout. In fact, more than 8% or 80, sorry, more than 80% of the employees say they feel burnout, and mostly because of the long working hours and heavy workloads. And what's interesting is it's not only about employees, it's also about the managers. Along with, half of the employees, more than half of the managers say that, they're dealing with burnouts and high work stress in their organization, right? So this is very clear, and it is very clear. The data that you see on the screen is very clearly telling us one thing. The problem is not pertaining to one candidate, one organization, rather it is widespread, and it's even growing, right? So the shift that leaders need to make. So today, most organization already, you know, collect a lot of data, a lot of information. They have dashboards, reports, and the tools. But adding one more tool or one more report to what they have, it doesn't really solve the problem, right? So in many cases, it actually adds more noise to the existing one. So what really helps leader is not more data, but better signals, better insights, so that they can take the informed decision. So signals that show very clear sign or the early sign of the pressure or risk or imbalance in the team, for the utilization for that matter, It also helps when the different data points are connected and make sense together, right? And when the insights are very clear and easy to understand, then for a leader, it will be really easy to take any decision or act on it and act faster rather. So that's the real shift that leaders they need to make, uh, moving from just collecting data to actually using it for making more decisions, faster decisions, and informed decisions. So this is where AI really starts to matter, right? Uh, AI can look at large amount of data, uh, and unlike we do look into the data manually from multiple reports, AI can look at large amount of data at one point, and then the data can usually sit in different tools and platforms. It can pull together into one unified screen. And when AI connects all the data, it starts to show off how the work actually happens inside the organization, right? It helps leader to see things that it is not normally seen or it is hidden otherwise. So, for example, when the capacity gap exists, right? When the team is stretched and when the burnout may be starting building up, so AI can catch up those patterns very early. Now, this is not just a theory, right? If you see down below, there is a study done by McKinsey. It shows that when the organization use AI to better understand and use their own data, it could actually unlock up to $4.4 trillion in the global productivity, which is humongous. So this gives you a sense of scale of the impact that it can have, right? So this is why AI is not just about automation, it is about giving leaders better visibility and better judgment. So time for one more poll. So let's pause for one more minute maybe. Yeah, I think everyone can see the poll on the screen. Uh, so let's pick the option that the best matches how things work today in your current organization in terms of identifying uh, workforce risk, burnout, and overload. Maybe we can have 10 more seconds for the poll. Just pick the option that is best matching and how you think in your organization it is being handled at this point in time. All right, I think we can have a quick look at the response. All right. I think this gives a sense of how the organization handling in today, and that is what we have been seeing through manual reports and everything is what is currently handled. Great. Okay. So moving on, uh, so here most of the organization do not lack data, right? They lack the connected view. We have been talking about the same thing. When I say connected view, the time data, data for the attendance, data for activity tracking, data for the behavior tracking. So all of this sits in different places, but with the help of AI, we can bring this together and start making sense of how the work actually flows. And that's how the insights are created. All right. So most of the tool today are very good at tracking the work, right? So they can tell you how long someone has worked. Also, it can say that when the employee has logged in, employee has logged out, but that's only part of the entire story, right? Understanding work is actually different. So it tells you how we work actually happens during the day. What is but who was overloaded, who had too many context switch, and where the efforts were really going on. So that is actually not shown. So that is the difference which actually matters, right? So because when you understand your pattern, you can spot the burnout early. Okay. So you can plan your work better, and then you can support your team before actually the problem arises or shows up. So far, we have talked about why the data alone is not enough, and how AI can bring clarity. Uh, so most leaders definitely agree to this idea, and people in the group can relate to it. But the question is, how do we actually apply AI-driven workforce intelligence platform or tool in our day-to-day operation? And most importantly, how do we do that without adding more tools, without adding one more layer or dashboard or more complexity to the existing one? That's the important question that we need to address. So that's exactly is where uh, TimeChamp comes into picture. So TimeChamp is an AI-driven intelligence platform designed to make all of this practical, right? So to walk you through how the tool works and how it used in the real operation, I did like to hand over to Shivangi for the further slides. Shivangi, over to you.
Thank you, Yug. So I'm taking over from here. I will show. Just a second. Cool. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we can.
Okay. So, yeah. So thank you so much, Yug. It was really a solid way to frame the problem we are all facing. And what you guys just heard from Yug, it is actually something that most leaders feel, even if they cannot really articulate it. So we have more data than ever, but decision making doesn't always become simpler. We have talked about delayed signals, invisible burnout, and why traditional dashboards fail to show what actually matters, right? So what I want to do now is to take everything you spoke about and show you how this actually plays out on the ground. Not virtually, but we are going to see it practically. Okay. So from here on, I'm going to walk you through how workforce intelligence is a real operation decision. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah, can you see it now? Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead. So this slide is really the hinge point of our entire conversation, because data by itself doesn't create value for us. Decisions do, right? And most organizations today are sitting on time data, productivity data, tool users data, but every data that we are getting, it is fragmented, delayed, and somehow disconnected with each other, right? So leaders are ending up reaching late after burnout, after attrition, and after delivery is slipping. So the shift that we are talking about today is moving from knowing what happened to understanding what's about to happen early enough to act here, right? And that's exactly what workforce intelligence is all about. Okay. Now moving to the next slide, if we see. So this is where our TimeChamp comes in. So TimeChamp is an AI-driven workforce intelligence platform. And I want to be very clear about something upfront. We are not a monitoring or surveillance tool or something like that. We are trying to talk about the intelligence. We are not trying to talk about some specific fragmented tools. Our job here as a TimeChamp is not to watch people, but our job is to help leaders understand patterns of work across teams, tools, and time. So instead of asking, oh, who worked how many hours, we help you actually answer where are we overloading our team? Where are we leaking productivity? And where is burnout silently building? So this is exactly what TimeChamp helps with. Guys, if you cannot hear me or see my slide, please let me know. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier that burnout is sudden, and this slide makes that exactly visible. People don't wake up one day and decide to quit your organization. What happens instead is a pattern, like sustained overtime, shrinking recovery time, increasing cognitive load, right? And TimeChamp continuously monitors these patterns, not an individual policing level, but as a behavioral signal level. So we can clearly see attrition risk months before it even turns into a resignation email. That is going to give you time to rebalance workloads, change priorities, or intervene meaningfully. Now moving to this next, yeah, I'll move here. Second, I'm going to move it here. Right. Now moving to the next slide, this slide is very important because most teams look balanced on the surface. If you see for most of the companies, headcount looks equal, roles are defined, but the effort is not evenly distributed. One or two people, I'm sure we all have seen that. One or two people often carry disproportionate load, especially in the high performing teams. So TimeChamp actually detects those imbalances automatically. You don't need to go and complain it to anybody. It shows you exactly where effort concentration is happening. So decisions are based on evidence and not on the assumption. This directly impacts delivery quality, morale, and long-term retention of your employees. Now, moving to the next slide, we are here talking about Champ. Leaders can clearly see the attrition risks, and they see it even weeks or months before it turns into a resignation email, which is going to give all the leaders using TimeChamp a time to rebalance their workloads, change their or intervene when it is important because most teams look balanced on the surface. When we see headcount is equal, mostly the roles are defined, but effort is not evenly distributed. We often see that. So decisions are based on evidence and not on assumption. Okay. So this directly impacts delivery quality, morale, and long-term retention for you. Now let's move to the slide number 22. Yes. Okay. So this is where productivity finally stops being subjective. We don't ask managers to manually track your tasks or create reports. TimeChamp automatically maps how work flows across tools, applications, and time blocks. This means that you can see patterns like where focus is fragmenting, where context switching is excessive, and where real productivity work is happening. So ultimately it removes our guesswork from productivity conversations, right? Let's move to the next slide. This isn't about clocking in or clocking out. TimeChamp feeds data directly into understanding effort, intensity, cost trends, and delivery sustainability. When leaders see time in isolation, it is meaningless. This is what most of the tools are doing right now. But when they see it, one of the biggest risks today is invisible overwork. We all know that. People are logging in late, working weekends, staying available, they are working hybrid, and up as a problem immediately. Over the time, it gradually compounds. So TimeChamp, when you use TimeChamp, it highlights these patterns early. So leaders don't discover burnout or performance drops. They prevent it while... Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. Now, proactive insights and alerts. This is where intelligence becomes actionable for everybody. Instead of managers searching dashboards, the system flags early warnings like burnout risk, proactively. This allows leadership to shift from firefighting to your foresight. Moving to the next slide. Yeah. So the next important thing that we are going to talk about is suspicious activity and operational imperfection. Right? This is often misunderstood. So I really want to clarify this. So we are not talking about surveillance here at all. We are talking about protecting operations, like understanding anomalies that could indicate your risk, misuse, or any kind of inefficiency in your organization. It is specifically built for distributed teams, and it adds a layer of operational safety without invading your privacy. Moving to the next slide. So next is very important, operational data. So when we talk about, having all those data, all the fragmented data from different tools and not able to, correlate between them, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is with its own dashboards. So dash only work and question. These dashboards that we are creating that are designed to deceive and not vanity metrics like the usual dashboards. So we can see clearly things like what needs attention today, where is pressure building, and which teams need support right now. And that is the exact difference we are building between visibility and clarity with TimeChamp. Moving to the next slide. Yeah. So when we say why TimeChamp, I have specifically 𝗪𝗵 as a workforce intelligence platform. So yeah, many tools are doing task and everything. But 𝗪𝗵 as a workforce intelligence tool goes beyond tracking. With 𝗪𝗵, what we can do is, at its core, when you see 𝗪𝗵, it helps organizations see the reality very clearly. We are not forcing control. It does not help you do all this through forcing the control, but through understanding things. That clarity is actually ultimately going to allow you with better planning, healthier teams, and more resilient deliveries. Moving to the next slide. So when we see a real example, there is a challenge. Let's understand this is a case study tried, tested with one of our clients, which was a global consulting firm with 500 employees and 8 departments, which is a mid-level of company, right? So the challenge they were consistently facing was fluctuating workloads, limited visibility into productive, rising overtime cost, and reactive workforce planning. What we did with 𝗪𝗵 was we simply applied AI-driven workforce intelligence to monitor workload and productivity trends. We do not monitor employees, but we monitor the workload and productivity trends. And ultimately, we detected the burnout risk early and improved the resource allocation across the organization. So this is a real example of what happens when patterns replace assumptions. Once leaders could see workload distribution and burnout clearly, they simply made targeted changes and not blanket policies. So the result was simply the lower attrition, better delivery consistency, and higher trust. Not one, but we have so many different case studies like this. Let's move to the next slide. Similarly, we have so many different case studies for multiple different kinds of firms that have used 𝗪𝗵 as the workforce intelligence platform. So the slide clearly summarizes the transformation that 𝗪𝗵 is bringing. If you can clearly see, in the before, they are having a lot of our prospects and our clients are having fragmented data. They are ultimately taking reactive decisions. And when they use 𝗪𝗵, they have connected insight, they have early intervention and confident leadership. If a leadership is confident on why they are doing what, most of the problems of an organization.
Yes.
Let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, slide number 31. Okay. So how different teams are benefiting from 𝗪𝗵? It is not for one particular kind of team, but 𝗪𝗵 has cross-functional benefits, right? So different teams extract different values like finance, operations, HR, leadership. So what they are doing is, with finance, we are helping them with accurate budget allocation. Operations team are getting help with better visibility into productivity trends. IT teams are eliminating overlapping and duplicate apps, and leadership are taking proactive decisions backed by real data. Let's move to the next slide. So as you know now, what are the things that 𝗪𝗵 can bring to the table? What are the transformation that we can build with workforce intelligence platform by 𝗪𝗵? What we want everyone to give as a token of thanks is we are going to offer a 7-day free trial to everyone who has joined this session. Okay, so that you can take a very very conscious decision whether you want to adapt to this new tool or not, right? So with the 7-day free trial, you can see how workforce intelligence brings clarity to your everyday operation. Okay, so I really encourage everybody to just go ahead and try it. You will see how 𝗪𝗵 can turn your scattered workforce data into clear, actionable insights. How you can gain real visibility into productivity, workloads, and operational gaps. And how you can predict hiring needs with accurate data and ultimately make smarter decisions with AI-driven intelligence. This is 2025. No, it is already 2026. We are already in the 2026. This is the first webinar we did for this year. So AI is something that is non-negotiable, right? So just go ahead and within days, most teams are definitely going to start seeing patterns they didn't even know they existed. So that's usually most leaders realize we have been flying partially blind. I'm going to guarantee you. So just go ahead, try this 7-day trial where you get full access of 𝗪𝗵's AI-driven workforce intelligence platform. You get smart dashboard, real-time visibility, clear insights, and the ultimate thing is that you don't need to figure out anything on your own. Our team is going to guide you, support you, and onboard you to the trial session. Okay, let's move ahead. Yeah, let's move to the next slide. Yes. So yes, we have also dropped it in the chat. Go ahead and book your demo. I'm sure that you are going to see a huge difference in how your team is currently moving, taking decisions and everything. So all you need to do is, we have already dropped the details in the chat. You can go ahead and book your 7-day trial absolutely free of cost. What happens after that is you can book a 15 minutes calls. Our team is going to help you set up. It will onboard you, and you will start your 7-day free trial, and you will start seeing your insights and difference within 1 day of starting it, right? So yeah, we have already pasted. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let us know. You can reach out to us at productsupport@timechamp.io, or our phone numbers are already here. So please go ahead and try it on your own. Ask questions. If you have any questions at all, feel free to let us know. And if you guys have any questions right now, you can ask us in the chat box. I would love to answer them. And yeah, if you want to take a conscious decision, the reason we are giving a 7-day trial is we want you to try, test it, and then take a conscious decision of onboarding on TimeChamp. Okay. So before we wrap up, I want to thank Yug once again for grounding today's conversation. The shift from data to decisions isn't optional anymore. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And we are excited to continue the conversation with you. This was the first webinar we had. So I would really suggest everybody to just go ahead, book a demo, and try TimeChamp for 7 days and then take a decision. Okay, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us via email, or you can directly call us on these numbers. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.